This podcast is brought to you by Avocado Mattress. And if healthy, comfortable sleep matters to you, this is one organic brand worth knowing. That's because what you sleep on actually matters.
Most mattresses rely on synthetic foams and chemical materials that trap heat, break down over time, or off-gas. Avocado does it differently. Their mattresses are handcrafted with natural materials, organic latex, organic wool, and organic cotton, designed to be naturally cooling, incredibly supportive, and long-lasting. They're certified organic by GOTS and meet multiple non-toxic and safety certifications. Made for people who care about their health and the environment without sacrificing comfort. I love that Avocado proves you don't have to choose between comfortable, supportive sleep and your values. And now, during our Earth Month sale, you can get up to 15% off Avocado mattresses. Just go to avocadogreenmattress.com. Get up to 15% off at avocadogreenmattress.com. avocadogreenmattress.com.
Psst. Hey, you, friend with the AirPods in listening. Guess what? You can watch this episode in video now. I know. All you have to do is head over to our YouTube channel, and there's a link in the show notes. So go ahead and click that. You can see all the faces that producer Steph and I make when we're about to say the same thing at the exact same time. It's pretty cool. Check us out.
Edit audio.
Hello, everyone. I'm Robin Hopkins, and this is Well Adjusting, where I talk to people about life stuff, but not in an NPR way. It's more like we're at the bar, having cocktails, getting into your business sort of way.
It's giving drunk NPR.
Oh, and producer Steph is here too.
Hello.
Today we chat, well, breaking down the Great You Plan. Hello, friends, and welcome back. It is absolutely lovely to have you here with us today. And you're going to be very excited because today we are talking about the Great You Plan. That is right. In many an episode, you've heard us talk about the Great You Plan, a document that I created. It was originally known as the Great Robin Plan, but then that doesn't really work for any of you all. So it's a flexible Google Doc, of course. I mean, what do? Me and Steph. That's adaptable, and it's in a place where you can sort of project manage yourself. Like what you want to do next could be an area like work projects or self or family or health and wellness, or it could be all of them. It's really like how you want your year to look, or even like where you see yourself in 5 years. I don't want to sound like a commercial, but it's the ultimate project management tracker for you. So today we're getting real. Steph and I are going to talk about how we did on last year's Great Us plans. And at the time of writing this, one of us has realized that she never finished hers. And we are going to talk about how we are going to approach filling out this year's plan and hopefully give you guys a layout so that you can do the same. And stick around all the way to the end because we brought in Karen Kunkel Young, who is a life coach, and she's going to be joining us for some tips on how to approach setting yourself up to move toward your goals. I mean, who does not need that coming into a new year? Let's get to it. All right, Steph, we're getting real here on how we did on the Great You Plan this year. I mean, I feel like I really want you to go first because I am startled to realize that I never fucking completed my Great You Plan. Did you fail also?
Okay, I am not going to give myself a failure, but first of all, what I'm going to say is the last time I filled it out was in May of 2025.
No, that is good. That's when we were supposed to.
No.
Oh,
May
2024.
May of 2024.
Okay. Well, less good, but still. Maybe yours was an 18-month one instead of a 1 year.
It's kind of how I feel because I'm reading it, and meanwhile, in my head, I'm thinking, oh my God, there's no way I did any of this shit. And then I was going through it, and I'm actually kind of impressed.
Okay. Well, let's first, before we get into like what you did and how you did, let's like tell folks what it is. First of all, this doc is in the show notes forever and eternity. So you should get it, make a copy, make it your own. And I'm a big fan of telling people to make it their own because yours, I think, is different than mine. Not just formatting because you hate my colors. Yours is ugly. You take out all the joy in the colors.
Yours stresses me out. I open yours and I'm like, oh my God, I'm so stressed out. Why is there so much going on?
I need colors to tell me when I'm in different sections.
And that's why it's amendable,
That's why it's customizable.
That's why it's customizable. So mine looks like the 5-year plan. So it has like the overall view. It's like, what is my 1-year goal, my 2-year goal, 3-year goal, 4-year goal, 5-year goal? And it's like short, snappy, 1-sentence goal.
Yep.
And then I go into the year. I have my word of the year, which I stole from you. And then I put a little sentence under it. And then I have, what does that look like? What do I need to learn? What would that look like? And then I have it divided into different buckets.
By the way, that's all I completed last year was that. And when I got, what would it look like? I just wrote TK for like to come. Keep going. Then we're getting into buckets. What are your buckets?
So my buckets are creativity, work, wellness, and community.
Okay. So ours are very similar. Mine's creative, which is interesting. That's work for me. Like that, those are one and the same in my brain. Wellness. And then I had family, just because I thought maybe I should try to be nicer to my family. Perimenopause, it's real. I feel like if my kids still like me after menopause, it'll be a big win.
Do you have sub buckets? Because I have sub buckets.
Yes, I do. Underneath it, like for me under creative, I have like acting, writing, creating. Then I had Dear Headspace, which is on hiatus, while adjusting. And then I had a gratitude section. Jeez, this was really good if I'd actually filled it in. What are your sub buckets?
Creative, I have art and sound, writing, and then consuming. Because I think for me, I don't spend enough time consuming art for fun.
Oh, okay.
I don't really like watch a lot of TV or like anything. And so I just wanted to be more intentional, like listening to podcasts for fun or like going to art exhibits for fun and just being more intentional that that's like connected to creative process because it does inspire me.
Yeah. Yeah. So if you're at this point where you're like, okay, Jesus Christmas, this is a lot. It is, but it's not. I think one of the things that's important if you're starting to fill this out is that you can change it and do it however you want. Like you might have this 5-year plan, like mine's a 5-year plan that's supposed to hit February 2028. And I am moving in that direction, but it's like there may need to be some adjustments, but it's just there as benchmarks because I think if you just say 5 years from now, I want to be a doctor. Okay, great. That's lovely. But have you gotten your bachelor's degree? Have you then, applied to, have you taken the tests? What was that? The MCATs or whatever that is. Have you studied for them? So it's like you need to break it out in manageable chunks. And I think like the reason the 5-year plan is so you can back it out. But I also want to say that if you're like, I have no frigging idea where I want to be in 5 years, just do 1 year.
That's me.
Steph's pointing to herself.
I have 2 questions and you can tell me which makes more sense to tackle first. But one of my questions is like, so this is my first year. I'm going to go into it and I'm going to, look at last year or the last 18 months. What did I do well? Blah, blah, blah. How are you reporting that? Or how are you like documenting that to move forward?
This is going to be not a surprise to anyone. And this is going to be annoying to you, Steph, because I did my things in red, which I know red makes Steph angry and upset.
Yes.
But I did like under a bucket, I wrote none of these. I didn't get any of these, none of these.
But
then
red?
other in red. But then others
God.
I wrote yeses. And then I have words like yes to both or much improved, close, none of these, much improvement. So it's like, to me, there's something about the looking back. Like if I take what I have for this year, the part that I did actually fill out, which was my word for the year, because I do love to stake a claim in a word. And my word for last year was soar. Like, what do I have here? I will lift off and fly utilizing all the skills I've built to this day. That's so dorky.
No, I'm laughing because I thought you meant like ouch. Like SORE. And I was like, oh, wow.
No,
I mean, I guess.
Soar, like flapping wings.
Like normally I'm like, your word of the year should be positive, but I guess you were in a lot of pain and it's.
No, it's my upcoming year. I want to be in less pain. So then it's like, once you chose the word, then it was like, okay, well, what does that look like? Right. So I had some things like I wanted to have Laugh Lab funded, which no, that did not happen this year. But if I go up to my 5-year plan, because I do think that on first look, it could feel like, well, isn't that going to like beat you down? But if I go up to my 5-year plan, like my goal ultimately is to have like a production company where I'm building and creating, comedy content that I get to act in. And I have already started it. It's not funded, but I've already started it. And I think then it allows you to just rejigger for next year. Like goals can be so like ethereal or non-quantifiable, but this gives you wording that you can say whether you did something or didn't do it. And I had things under there like Laugh Let Be funded, confidence and belief in myself, other people believe in my ideas, picking myself up when I've been knocked down. So that's what it would look like to soar. And if I look at that, I did a pretty good job this year of like, there were moments where I got with Laugh Lab where I was like, this is all falling apart. Everybody's leaving. But I go back to other people's belief in me. I got 2 business partners in this thing. Mm-hmm. And so that means they believe in the idea. And I hope means they believe in me too. And I did pick myself up when I got to those places and then just moved to something else. And I would give myself much improved on confidence and belief in myself. Mm. Tell me, for you, if you take one of your buckets under your word, what does that do for you? Like for anyone who's listening, who's just like, okay, this just seems like busy work. Like, how does that help you?
I mean, maybe I'll just do wellness because I think it's like the most relatable one.
Yep.
My buckets in it are mind and body, which are pretty easy. But then within those, I have a bunch of other things. So I have like keep doing weekly things, like keep doing my therapy weekly. Decide if couples therapy is a necessary expense or trauma-based decision. Pick back up on this PTSD workbook and finish it. Define relationship with your parents and be kind to yourself about it. Write down specific boundaries, enforce them. Meditate with exercise. And then in body, I have exercise 5 days a week, but don't be rigid with it. Walks are great. Remember that. Stretch and walk as much as possible. Cook for yourself, not just for your community. Buy produce for the produce and stop punishing yourself for spending money on expensive, nutritious shit. Figure out your medical care across country lines and see a doctor for your stomach for fuck's sake.
Okay, which ones do you feel like you succeeded at? Because I know a lot of those.
Yes. And
you did really well.
What's so surprising is some of these things I didn't do, but looking back on it, I don't feel like I'm punishing myself for not doing them. Like it was like an intentional decision not to do it. I decided I didn't want to do that. So
yeah, I have had that come up too. Yeah.
Yeah. Like even therapy, I just stopped going to weekly therapy and I feel good about it. And I'm like, I'm just taking a break. I got to a point where I was like, why am I seeing this therapist? Like I felt like I was just talking about the same stuff. And I think I need to try a different kind of therapy, but I'm like, I'm saving that money right now and spending it on like a gym membership. So that was like a conscious decision. I did not know it was even in this Great You Plan, but that's great.
I would argue that sometimes the writing it down allows you to like, then you start doing work almost like on a computer, how apps are running in the background. I think the conversation is running in the background just because you wrote it down.
I love that visual. I have little tabs up from my Great You Plan in my brain.
We're tab people. I've had ones where I come up to it like that and I'm like, no, that was a conscious decision. And that feels really good because it means there's growth. And that's a moment you can be like, oh shit, I grew.
Like a lot. The stuff with my parents, like boundaries and enforcing them. Even the way I wrote this, I can tell it's me try to enforce them, write them down. It's like so that I will be like strong to myself. And I'm miles ahead of that person that I was a year ago in that bucket. Like I have done such a good job. I'm like proud of myself for that. So that's huge. Again, nice to remember how far you've come. Like when I look back on that, it's not like there's no like negativity that's coming up for me. It all feels very positive.
Well, and let's go into another bucket because I think what's really great about this is we're showing how you can quantify something that feels unquantifiable, right? So for me, if I had something in the family bucket, I'm going to go ahead and family the year before. Okay. You could tell we were in a place. I had talk in a calm voice, 2 times per month family outing. Trust that Maxine will be okay. And I had that just because I was having all these dreams about her, all these like worry dreams. And it was like the age where she went into high school because this would have been her freshman year. And I was letting go. And it's so funny because I'm in that same exact process right now with my son, who is now a freshman. And it's happening all over again. But I'm having this moment of noticing that, I got to a place where I really trust my daughter is like, mostly I still have the nightmares sometimes, but that she's safe and that she knows what she's doing. Oh dear God, it's so hard. What I think is really interesting about this is like my look back was much improvement. And that is something that I am continuing to work on. But it's like, again, just the writing down of it holds me accountable. And it's the look back, I think, is really nice to be able to see. 2024, I did like an essay about how I felt I did.
Oh my God. Maybe
I was like,
should
2024 Robin was in it. It's like, this was a big year for change. On paper, it looks like I didn't achieve anything I set out to do. But early on in the year, I made a switch to focus on Laugh Lab. The growth that I've had this year of going from a simple idea to having Dylan and Natalie and a couple of creators on board is huge. I was astonished to see that Laugh Lab fits perfectly my 5-year dream by Feb 2028. And it goes on. But it's like interesting, like, again, like I feel it's so weird to say this because I didn't complete the one for this year, but like I feel so good about seeing all this.
Yeah, I felt really good. I mean, there's like some money things that I didn't hit and whatever, but I'm like, whatever. It was a hard year for money for, I think, everyone.
For everybody, yeah.
Like, it's honestly kind of nice to be like, well, I actually did like move my goals ahead despite it being like hard in other places. And I think that's like the overall point.
Absolutely. Hey friend, I'm just jumping in here to say that we've got a new way to get in touch with us. If you want to leave us some feedback, hopefully good, or suggest an episode topic or ask a question, all you have to do is go to sayhi.chat/welladjusting. The link's in the show notes, but I'll say it one more time. sayhi.chat/welladjusting. You could leave us a voice memo and we might just use it on air. And if you happen to be enjoying this episode, why not go ahead and subscribe to the podcast or rate and review us? You won't regret it, folks.
I started this by being like, I have 2 questions, but my other question is, I have never filled out the 5-year plan. And that's like the whole point, kind of.
No, not necessarily. It wasn't in the first year I did it. The first year I did it, it was just like I was in a messy place and I was like, I need to get the fuck out of this situation. And in order to do that, I need to feel like I have something to hold on to. So I wanted 1 year to be like, I want to be in a different place a year from now. And then after that year, I was like, okay, well, I'm in a completely different place. I'm so much better and I'm rebuilding and healing and all of that jazz. Let's set this up for a little further out. So I think that now could be a good time for you to do that.
I agree. I think I just have like a real like deep block and I don't know why.
What is it that you can't come up with what it would be? Or is it that you're afraid to write it down?
No, I cannot come up with what it would be. Like, I don't know how to like vision far in advance.
Yeah.
But then my word for the year was dream. My word for last year was dream, so that I could be good at that. And I do think in a lot of ways I've expanded, but I don't know how. I don't know. Maybe you need to come over and like do like a sticky note session with me or something.
Let's like have some cocktails, play some music, and like just bring laptops and just sit and like do it and just talk about like what we want. Because it's like I'm already thinking about like hearing you say community and me say family. I was like, why is that so small? And also like I'm at an age where, you know, I'm not 12. You have kids and
You're
then
not?
like you're what? You know, your circle gets smaller. And I was just thinking about like, we're currently in the middle of Steph and Robin Get Well, and we're doing the acts of courage. And like coming home, I was like, well, I better say hi to people now. I don't know if I'm going to leave the house again today. I think maybe I could find more ways to say yes to doing things. That might be something I'd be interested in adding. So like we should do a creative sesh.
Yes, but can you also bring some sort of exercise so I can figure out how to dream? Because when you say 5 years from now, I'm like, crickets.
Okay, well, I could already tell you. Okay, so this is good. All right, let's just look at what you have, right? Like what's
So
currently
much.
in your life, right? So you rent an apartment. Do you think maybe in 5 years you might want to own an apartment? Or do you think like where you might want to reside? So that's something you could be thinking about. Like, I mean, it might be a good goal to own something. Financial Robin is making a face, pushing her glasses up. So we could ask questions around that. I've heard you talk about like growth of your business. So we could ask questions around that. Like, would you want to like make it so huge you spin it off and sell it and then you travel? Like she just said, no, so fast. So that's good. So you do know.
I
we
do
just gotta
know
like pull it
5
out.
years with the business. I have that.
Okay.
But the rest of it, I'm like,
well, maybe. By the way, in my 5-year plan, it is only about work. Now, this year, I might start to think about adding into the 5-year plan about where we're going to be living, because we're now heading into another phase of just like, do I want to retire in New York City? What does that look like? And if my kids are in colleges in different places, do I need to stay? Do I want to stay? Like, I think it doesn't have to be a done thing, Steph. Like, it can be just like a starting point and you can add to it. I have changed my 5-year plan.
Sorry that I made this about me. I'm like, how do we fix my 5-year plan?
No, the reason I think this is really good is because other people are going to like struggle as they try it. They're going to be like, well, I don't know. Because like you could be 25 and maybe you've had things in front of you that you've struggled with dating. And you're like, I'd like to be in a long-term committed relationship in 5 years. Okay, well, then the next 4 years are going to look like you better get out there. You're going to be doing some stuff. You better expand your circle. You know, it's really just about having a thing you want to live into.
Maybe that's the way to approach it. Maybe I should look at what I have in my year and think on each bullet point, how do I expand this?
I have a meditation. I did this thing called it's called the Hoffman.
I know you always tell me I should go, but that it's traumatic.
You'd be so it's not traumatic. It is fucking intense. But they started every day with this one particular meditation where they would ask you to just sit there and they would ask all these questions. We're going to do that. Steph, we're going to do that when I come over. I'm going to bring that meditation.
Okay.
But they ask all these questions like, where do you live? Like, who's in your life? But it's a meditation and you're just thinking. And then after they do all that and you're like, oh, I've got this, I have this, it looks like this, whatever. And then at the end, they're like, okay, now cut back to where you really are. And then they're like, let the friction or the difference between these two things drive you towards your goal. And I think just sitting and meditating with a purpose a couple of days in a row or like before you do this might really help you build out a 5-year plan. And I think it's important that you said all this because it doesn't have to be just one thing. Like, I want to be a lawyer. You know, some people just want, 10% more joy. Or like, it could be as simple as 5 years from now, I want to have a rich and booming social life.
Yeah.
Or I want to be, in a rock climbing club and it's something I do every week. I don't really want that, but.
No. But I do think there's like some sort of block in me and I don't know how to get rid of it. And maybe
it's a fear.
Maybe
here,
I
Steph.
do this meditation like every day for a week and see what comes, see how it changes or something. Because maybe it's a muscle. Like maybe I need to just dream and like do it more intentionally all the time and be like, okay, what does that look like? What does that look like until it's real?
I would also ask you this question for you to ask yourself.
You could just ask me.
What are you afraid of?
If like you were dying.
Well, no, in this exercise, what are you afraid of? Are you afraid that if you commit to it and you fail? Are you afraid of saying it makes you feel boxed in? Are you afraid, like that's a question for you to answer.
Bit.
There's a fear here.
Well, the fear that comes up when I think about like writing anything down, because now that you've started like pronging at certain things, I'm like, okay, it's less crickets. I have like some ideas. But the fear that comes once I say those is like, oh, then I have a shit ton of stuff to figure out.
Yeah.
Because if my 5-year plan is to buy a house, probably it's not in New York because I don't think I can retire here because Canada has way more security. And let's be real, what's going on right now isn't great.
Yeah. Yeah.
But then I'm like, oh, I got to move to fucking Canada in 5 years. Like,
well, that's the thing is with knowledge comes power, but with knowledge comes movement. And that can be really scary. I get that 100%. Like once you are aware, there's no more ignorance is bliss. Then you're like, oh, well, I should probably start doing stuff toward that. And that's
But
scary.
I don't want to move to Canada.
Well, you don't. But again, that could be, why don't you make yours 10 or 15?
That's true.
That could be an ultimate thing. And also, P.S., you can own an apartment for 6 months and flip it. Like you could own here and then take your profit and move to Canada and retire. That's the planning in between once you have the goal.
Yeah.
Like I'd have you buy here because you're going to make fucking money in your apartment. And then you may have some money to invest and you might be able to buy outright there.
Yeah.
And I can say, like, because I'm not just going to put you on the spot. Like, my fear is that, like, who am I to say these things? Who am I to say, like, I'm going to have this? And then it's followed very closely behind with, well, what if you don't get it? And to me, like, the rational part of me is like, well, just like my to-do list, it moves over to next year.
Yeah.
Or it changes, but I got to try.
But what's so cool is now you have the data to support that. Like, you know that you just looked back on 2024 and didn't feel like, oh, everything is terrible, I didn't do anything. Like, you feel good.
Yeah. Well, and if I had filled out wellness, it surely would have been, if I had filled it out, it surely would. This is the most perfect example of how flawed we are. We're over here like giving advice. And I'm like, if I had filled it out, but if I had, I know there would have been something about depression and my sleep and how I felt about my body. And I know that I have taken steps to solve all of those in this year. Yeah. So it's like there's huge growth. And I know that's what I would have written down.
I have this one like pretty cool, just like super like silly. And I know when I wrote it down, I was like, I don't know how the hell I'm going to do that. But I wrote it down and it was in community under local neighborhood. It says, define
subset B.
Yes. Define how you can show up for a political system that you can't participate in. That's and literally the sentence.
Literally just out canvassing the other day.
For our local mayor. And I found other little ways to do that. And I didn't even know that was on this plan. I am such an active person, but I'm not an American citizen. So I can't vote. I can't like participate. And that there's like a friction there in me. And I'm like, oh, I did that. And that's so cool. And I didn't even know I was like intentionally looking for that. But obviously on some level I did. So that's really, really cool. And it's such a tiny little thing. But I'm like, there's so many of those in this Great You plan.
Yeah. And by the way, I think one of my learnings is from this year is that had I been checking quarterly, even if I got in there 3 times a year, I would have seen I hadn't fucking finished this. And might that have pushed me forward on some things, you know, because I am of the belief of, and this, I don't know that this is right or wrong, and it could be part of my trauma, but like if I'm not writing it down and moving toward it, there's this inertia and I'm stuck.
Yeah.
And that's not necessarily true. But I do have ambitious goals. And in order to get them, I'm going to have to be like, you know, it's like if you want to go to med school, you do have to take the tests. You do, you do have to. You have to do the things toward it. And I'm wondering what things I might have moved more toward had they been concrete. So that is a learning for me. I'm committing right here, right now to writing it before the end of the year and checking at least 2 times throughout the year before my wrap.
Okay, and my learning, I have a few. First, I have a block with my expansion of 5-year plan, which I'm going to work on. 2, I think I had another fear, like a fear to check it. Like I almost didn't want to check in quarterly because I was like, oh, there's no way I did anything. I don't even want to look at it. But now that I've looked at it, I feel great. Like I feel great about all the stuff I did. And I probably would have felt great 4 times last year on a micro level. And it would have like inspired me to do even more. So I think one of my learnings is just to like, I think that might be a sticky note for my desk, honestly. Looking at the Great Steph plan makes you feel good and inspired, not bad and lazy. And like, do that. Like you deserve that. You deserve to dream. You deserve to like be moving towards a future you that you like really want. And like, don't be afraid of whatever the fuck that voice is in my head that's telling me I'm an asshole that doesn't do anything.
Yeah. Even partial wins are wins. Like I always say, if you don't go for anything, you get 0. But if you go for something and you get 75% of it, that's 75% more than if you did nothing.
Yeah.
And I just think that's important to remember that it's flexible. Like it's not a tool to beat yourself up. It is a tool to say, oh, look what I did. I have this quote. I saw this movie called Life of Chuck, and it was so amazing. But at the end, he says, I am wonderful. I deserve to be wonderful. I contain multitudes. And I heard it and I was like, God, that's so fucking lovely. Because it's just like, it's all inside you. It's all here. and I wrote it down in my to-do list. Like I have my to-do list broken down in this week, weekend, and next week, and then future work. And I have it right above next week. And I read it to myself because it's in there all the time. And I think that's what I'm getting at with the Great You Plan, is that it's a place to say, I deserve this and I contain multitudes. Like,
you got lots of buckets in you.
I've got a lot of buckets. It could be anything you want to be.
Yeah. Oh, I love that.
All right. Last tip. Mine is get the fucking Great You Plan and try it. Just make a copy of it. It's a Google Doc. It's free. It's easy. Just try it. See what happens.
Yeah. Mine is less a tip and more just like the act of doing it, the act of writing it out and creating it is as important, if not more important, than actually doing anything on the list. So like, just treat it like an exercise or an activity or a meditation, whatever makes you feel good, or make a friend do it with you, Robin.
Coming over.
And yeah, I think the act of doing it is just as, if not more important than actually like doing all the to-dos on it.
Love it.
You have reached the well-adjusting expert of the day.
Hi, Karen. Welcome. Thank you for joining us as our expert of the day.
Robin, thank you for having me as the expert of the day. I'm thrilled to be here.
So Steph and I just had this whole conversation about the Great You Plan, and we're project management people. There's nothing we love better than a spreadsheet. But, we're anal retentive as fuck. So my question is, what about people that aren't like us? Okay, so like, how can you help keep yourself on track for, say, big projects or like movement over time if you don't want to get out an Excel spreadsheet?
Great question. I think that the most important thing when you have goals is to not look at it as the big goal. You have to break it down into smaller steps, or, human nature, we're going to get overwhelmed with it. So fantastic that you guys are using a spreadsheet, but just setting these smaller milestones. Maybe you put a little reminder in your Google Calendar. If you have Post-its, if Post-its work for you, it doesn't matter the vehicle. It matters that there is something visual that's going to remind you like, hey, I need to do this now. As long as it has a meaning for you to move you to that next step of your goal, that's what's important.
So part of the Great You Plan is kind of like breaking things out, right? It's that idea of being like, what do I want in wellness? What do I want in this? And maybe what's 1 year, what's 5 years, what's 2 years, that kind of jazz. Because again, the way that both producer Steph's brain and mine work, we can get very like, and then when I do this, I'll do this. And I know that just not everybody's like that.
The most successful goals are going to be time bound. So when you say 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, because if you don't assign time to it, it's more of a wish instead of a goal. And that is mission critical. You're going to be able to see those results, and then you'll be able to move to the next goal. So it's exciting to set a timer to it.
I love a timer. I'm not going to lie. Well, let's say you did all this, right? You put a Post-it up or you did your Great You Plan, and we all start off like guns a-blazing. We're like, I am about to conquer the world. And then maybe about halfway through, I start to get like, why did I start this? What is the point of all this? What do you say to those folks? Like, what's your best tips for someone who's stuck?
I think sometimes we can start to look at a goal as more of a task, what I should be doing as opposed to what I want to be doing. So how I work with my clients, and I think about myself and my own goals, is to zoom out for a second and think about, hey, why am I doing this in the first place? That is so important, Robin, because if not, sometimes you might get so fixated on that goal or so fixated on like, I haven't done anything about it. It's like zoom out and remember why it is important. I also think sometimes we change. Like we may have a 6-month goal and we're so pumped about it. But guess what? Like 3 months into it, we got a new job and we got slammed with all this work. And, something might have happened, in our family, different priorities have changed. So then we're like, oh, can't do the goal anymore. No, again, like I'm always like, zoom out. It's okay to pause it sometimes. But if you can take those even micro steps, it's going to be better than to just be like, shut it down and pretend it never happened in the first place.
Yeah. You made a pivot. You started off and you wanted to do that. And then you were like, no, it's actually better if I go in this other direction. I think that your advice of just saying, though, like why you started, that's also valuable in that case for answering the question of if you should be pivoting. Like, are you really done? Are you doing it out of fear? Or are you doing it just because you just like, this got too hard? Or are you doing it because you legitimately are turning a corner towards something else?
Mm-hmm. I think that when those fears come up, and sometimes we have fears, sometimes we have overwhelm, it's always good to talk to someone, whether that's a friend, whether that's a coach, whether it's your accountability partner, to try to get to the bottom of what's really going on here.
Yeah. All right. If someone's literally like, I would like to be in relationship with someone, or I would like to maybe, I don't know, asking for a friend, do better with my anger, like, can you chart emotion-based goals? Because I sure want to.
Great question. And honestly, in my previous session, my client was talking about wanting to be in a relationship and was extremely successful in all other aspects of their life. And my question was, what is the smallest thing that you can do? So it's all goes back to the smallest thing, and whether that was a date or whether, and I'm like, wait a second, back it up. Like, how do you get to the date? So it's always finding that smallest thing. You mentioned anger. None of us can go from like 0 to 60, just with the snap of a finger. So it's like, what's a small habit that you can change? What's something that maybe you can notice as anger might be coming up? You're never going to meet your goal if you don't take action. I mean, I know that sounds obvious, but it's not the biggest thing, the difference between a wish and a goal. So it's New Year's Eve. You're working on the big, great you plan for the next 1 year or 5 years. And honestly, chart that out, put it in the spreadsheet, put it in the Post-it, whatever you're going to do, but it never will be a straight line. Sometimes you might even feel like you're moving backward, but as long as you're moving, you will get there as long as you show up and are consistent.
Yeah. Yeah. It's funny that you mentioned like New Year's. Is there ever a wrong time to do it?
There's never a wrong time. There's no need to wait until the new year. You can start today. You can start tomorrow, because honestly, why wait? I mean, life is short. Yeah. Get started now, especially if you're excited and energized about a goal. There's no need to wait whatsoever. Move, move, move.
Yeah. What would you say, like someone's listening, they've heard us talk about the Great You Plan, they've heard all of your words of wisdom, and they're just like teetering and they're still a little stuck. Like, what's the most important thing you're going to say to that person so that they can get started, so that they don't end up just wishing?
Pick one thing. I feel that sometimes I hear from folks that there's so many things, or it seems so big. Just drill it down into one thing, even like if it's really, really small. And then you'll be able to achieve that goal, create momentum for what's next, and what's next. And like, what's the worst thing that could happen? You fail, you pick yourself back up, you tried something new. It's more adventurous than just sitting and trying nothing. And then the second question is, and what's the best that could happen? Like,
ooh,
it opens up the possibilities of like, what amazing thing could happen that I'm not even sure what that is yet,
Oh, I absolutely love that. Karen, you are a gem. And I want you to tell everybody like where folks can find you if they want to follow you or if they want to get more information about what you do. Where can folks find you?
Absolutely. One is on LinkedIn. It's Karen Kunkel Young. And also my website, similar name, KarenKunkelYoung.com.
All right, folks. So we've got to sign off because Steph and I, we have a lot of work to do, and you do too. And it's good work. Just go do it. Get that Great You Plan from our show notes and get going. We believe in you. And okay, I have to say this. If it's not for you, I can respect that, blah, 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 blah. But just take the tips that Karen gave you. Okay. You can do this. Set some goals. Go for it. Thank you so much to Karen Kunkel Young for joining us. All her contact info is in the show notes, so just go ahead and hit her up. For more Robin, and you may need that, you probably don't need it, but like if you do, you can follow me at Real Rob Hops on all the platforms, all the socials, as the kids today say. Well Adjusting is an Edit Audio original series. It's exec produced by Steph Colburn and Robin Hopkins. Our producer and editor is Maria Passingham, and our production manager is Kathleen Speckert. Thank you to the entire Edit Audio team and to you for listening. Oh, hey, before you take out those AirPods, this show is just for entertainment. If you are in need of help, please reach out to a professional. Go ahead and get that help. You deserve it.